Table for two. I don't know your name, but I was sitting in the parking lot and I'm waiting for my son to pull up and I was drinking my coffee. And I saw one of your videos that came down my timeline a few days ago, and it was the video that you were talking about, like how you could be all into the message, and as soon as they start speaking in tongue it instantly turns you off. And I chuckled when I saw it. I mean, when I say I laughed, baby, I laughed so hard at your video, Sugarface. And I mean no disrespect when I call you Sugarface or anything like that, because you look younger than me. And so, you know, that's the thing with the Sugarface. I call people, everybody Sugarface, you know. So again, I say I mean no disrespect. And if you aren't younger than me, you are aging beautifully. So kudos to you. But your video had me dying laughing. And I laughed that hard when I saw your video because it resonated so deep with me. It resonated really, really deep with me because I remember there was a time when I used to feel like that. I was raised in the church, and I remember I used to sit in the seats at the church and see them folks both shabba and hooping and hollering and moving around the church. And I used to sit there and I used to, sometimes I'd laugh and I used to be like, now why they acting a fool like that playing with God? You know what I'm saying? I used to feel the exact same way. But what I will tell you is that when you have your own personal experience with a higher power of that magnitude, that viewpoint, it will change. It will change. And I know it personally because it happened to me. And it was in one of the most unlikely moments that it happened to me. I was living in East Point, Michigan. And you know, if you know anything about Michigan area, Detroit, you know where I'm talking about. And we had just had a real bad storm. And so my basement had flooded a little bit. And it was like I couldn't catch a break, you know, and I just lost my brother. My brother had just passed away to cancer. And a few, you know, days later, we had a really bad rain. And so before I was starting to pump the water out the basement, I was using in the basement, using the push broom, trying to push as much water towards the drain as I possibly could. And when I say I was going through it, sugar, emotionally, I was going through it. I felt so broken and I felt so alone. I can just literally remember how I felt that day. And I was down there and I was pushing that water and I was talking to the Holy Father, and I was just talking and talking and talking. And next thing you know, I started crying. I was crying, but I was talking. I'm talking about snot running from my nose and everything, girl. And then it was like it took control of my whole spirit. Like I had no control over my tongue. You know what I'm saying? And I was in that basement and I was speaking in tongue, and I had no idea what I said, what I was saying. Hell, to be honest, I really don't even know who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody. And whoever that was, or whatever that power was, it took control of me. It's a different type of spiritual experience. And as I said, I'm not taking jabs. I'm not taking away from any spiritual experiences you may have had or you may have not had. I'm speaking for myself, and I'm telling you why I understood what you were saying. I used to think it was a game until it happened to me. I used to think people was faking and pretending, speaking in tongue, until it happened to me. But what I can tell you is that when you do have that spiritual experience, it changes you. it changes you, not just mentally and physically, but it also changes you as a woman. It changes how you empathize with people. It changes how you give people grace in the moments that, you know what I'm saying, they may need it. It does something to you. It's a higher spiritual plane, and I want to be able to like explain it to you, but this video will be 20 damn minutes long, so I'm trying my best, you know what I'm saying, to give you a little insight on what that is. And when it happened to me, I was scared. It ran me out my basement. When it let go of me, I ran up out my basement. And I remember calling my cousin's mom. She's deceased now. But my cousin's mom, her name was Paulette. I remember calling her. And I don't know what led me to call her, because I could have called one of my aunts. But I called her and I said, you're not going to believe what happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, her teachings of spiritual aspects and events, she kind of tried to give me more understanding to what happened to me. But until you physically experience it, I can understand feeling like that, because like I said, I used to feel like that too until it happened to me. And when it happened to me, it changed me. But I caught your video because I follow you, and because I like your work, I like your content, and that's why I follow you, and that's why I was able to catch that video. But yeah, mama, it's something different, you know what I'm saying. It resonated with me so deep, and I seen it days ago, but it didn't really hit me to like share my experience with you until today, for whatever reason, because I woke up and my grandma was on my mind. But that's what happens, sugar. That's what happens. That thing will grab hold of you and keep grabbing you until it's ready to let you go. And your time coming. It's coming. It's coming. I promise you it is.